This week on Maker Update, projection mapping the easy way, 3 Halloween projects for the price of 1, rewiring old lamps, and firing up your meditations. Hello and welcome back to Maker Update, the show where it's always cool to get excited about spooky season. I'm Tyler Weingartner and I hope you're all doing great and keeping busy with autumnal projects. We've got a fun show for you full of great projects, so let's get going with the project of the week. I've always been fascinated by projection mapping since I first saw it at the reopening of the Exploratorium in San Francisco. Projection mapping is when you create a video to be played on a projector, but it's specifically masked and distorted so that when it's projected onto a three-dimensional surface, it looks like the surface itself is emitting the moving image. There's some good open source software out there that's tricky to learn, some good commercial software, so there's always been a barrier to entry. But Joanny Le Mercier has developed a technique that's so simple, you're not going to have any more excuses. And lucky for us, he's written an Instructable about his process. In this project, he's projecting light onto a 3D geometric pattern made from folded paper. In one video, he shows how he made the pattern. It's basically a simple bit of origami made from printer paper and attached to the wall using just clear tape in a repeating pattern. But when he sets up his projector, that's when the real head-slapping moment comes into focus. The trick to this project is that you must mount your projector in a way that it will not move. Then you connect a computer to use your projector as a display, and then make sure the projected image covers your entire sculpture. Finally, you load up Joanny's free web-based design software and start designing directly onto your sculpture. Paint lines, export the image, maybe find ways to animate it once your basic design has been created. As long as the projector doesn't move and the design doesn't move either, they should stay perfectly locked together. This method is so simple and easy to pull off that I personally can't wait to try it for myself. Joanny's Instructable has 2 videos taking you through the whole process, plus lots of animated GIFs taken from the video to make it into a written step-by-step guide as well. Check it out. More projects. If you're behind on your Halloween decorative projects, the duo at Wicked Makers have this outstanding video on how to make 3 simple but show-stopping Halloween props. A giant spider, a pumpkin-headed scarecrow, and this ghoulish specter. If you can do paper mache, fit PVC pipes together, bend wire, and glue stuff, you can make these props. There's so many great tips in this video, like how to distress things and make them look worn and creepy with just paint, or tightly taping pipe insulation to give it a less uniform shape, and screwing pipe together instead of gluing it so you can pose it again later if you change your mind. If you're running behind on your spooky decoration projects, these 3 projects will get you back in the game in just a few evenings. Xyla, Foxlin's therapist, recommended that she get a sand Zen garden to help with her meditations. Xyla took that advice and put her own spin on it, ending up with the result that maybe isn't what her therapist had in mind: a Zen garden that's on fire. The project is simple enough. Behind the sand is a coil of copper tubing with holes drilled into it at regular intervals, which is then hooked up to a propane tank. As you trace patterns into the sand, the propane seeps through, igniting from other pockets of burning gas close by, producing a really satisfying effect. Okay, look, if it gives you some clarity of mind, it works for us, and this looks amazing. From Wrongdog Reckons, he's created a video player for classic TV shows, built entirely around the nostalgia of broadcast television from his youth. Entirely as a means to explore and understand the nature of this nostalgia. While the production of television and its choice in programming is better than ever, in a lot of ways it lacks the novelty of creating an event that people gather together for. His project is played from a Raspberry Pi, and he uses code to create programming and scheduling on various channels. Though I do love the use of this antenna positioner dial to change the channels. He comes up with some interesting conclusions based on his experience with this project, but it's a good testament for using creative work to explore ourselves and our relationship to entertainment. Time for some tips and tools from Snorin. We have a guide to the Clockwork uConsole. We've already seen this in a few projects before. This is a handheld enclosure for a Raspberry Pi compute module that provides a display, a full QWERTY keyboard, a miniature trackball, gamepad controls, and a battery holder for some 18650 batteries. This video gives you an excellent idea of what you can expect from what comes in the box, plus a few tips on how to improve the Wi-Fi reception with better antennas, improve trackballs, and even access internal USB connections. It's a great guide on how to get the most out of this device. From Uncle Jessy, I learned about this super posable, super satisfying to print action figure called the Dummy 13 by Sousaphone. This is a fairly easy to print model since everything comes on these pre-constructed runners. You'll have two different model files to print, the internal frame and the external armor. But when you're done, you get this super dynamic model similar to the classic artist's figure. What's more, the figure scales really well, so you can make it at just about any size you like. And finally, we have a video from Becky Stern, where she shows her process for rewiring a classic lamp. If you find an old lamp from an antique store that you want to put into service, you're going to want to give it a once-over for the electricals, since they probably have some antique wiring, which could be a hazard. In this video, Becky talks about how she got supplies from Color Cord Company, who have plenty of products on hand to help you with this project, and do it with a lot of stylish colors and patterns to match your design. What's more, there's a few other great tips on how to confidently work with mains power, and how to add strain relief to your cabling using lineman's knots. For this week's DigiKey Spotlight, we talk an awful lot about PCBs in this series, but without a whole lot of explanation about what they are. If that term ever glossed over you, DigiKey has a great explainer about what they are, what they're made of, and how they work. This video gives you a full anatomy of PCBs, whether they're through-hole, single-layer, or multi-layer, and they also go into detail about how the connections are made and how they disperse excess heat. Check it out! Alright, and that is going to do it for this week's show. A reminder, as always, that you can get more info about every single one of these projects by following the links down in the description. While you're there, leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, and hit subscribe with the bell to make sure you won't miss the next one. Huge thanks as always to DigiKey for making the show possible, and to you for watching. Take care. We'll see you soon.